storyteller. Having not told a story here since February of 2023, he is now back with his 7th story. Please give it up for Charlie McCoy.
Thank y'all. So my name is Charlie, and I am a stage 4 hypochondriac. I don't know fully how, before the internet, somebody could actively and accurately practice hypochondria before the internet, but I know since the internet, I have been diagnosed with a multitude of things. It was the summer of 2015, and in a late night Google search, I had everything from cirrhosis of the liver to the need of a hysterectomy. And the reason that I am a hypochondriac is because I was raised by old people. So, like, I was familiar with diseases and arthritis and, the maladies that come with life. So the summer of 2015, something was happening. It didn't have to be too hot for me to start sweating like a TV preacher at an altar call. And everything that was connected to my head hurt. So I went to the doctor knowing I had probably 6 weeks to live. They said it was a sinus infection. I still disagree with that. But when I went to the doctor, I made my appointment online and I went in to find one of the smallest nurses I have ever seen in my entire life. She was Thumbelina size. I could have held her in the palm of my hand. She was tiny. And so I went through everything that had been happening over the last few days. And she's like, "Oh, I can fix you right up. 2 shots. 2 shots will take care of it." And I'm like, I'm willing to sacrifice myself for 2 shots. So I lifted up my shirt sleeve and she smiled and said, "I can't put them there." And I'm like, "Well, where are you going to put them?" And then she smiled bigger, and all of a sudden I knew exactly where they were going. So she had me lean over that Swiss Army knife table that has steps and stirrups and paper and pencil and, an unemployment office in the bottom of it. And I lifted my shirt and slowly, pulled my waistband down, and she gave me the first shot. No problem. No problem at all. And then she gave me the second shot. And that shot hit just a little bit differently. It was like all of a sudden I was transported to Studio 54. It was like a disco ball had dropped down in the middle of that doctor's office, and those little orbs started just circling all the way around the room. And I just slightly said, "I think I'm getting a little dizzy." And the little teeny tiny nurse looked at me with fear and trepidation. Because look at me. Think about her and then look at me. She looked at me with this fear. Her eyes got huge and she said, "Get on the table, get on the table, get on the table." And the more she repeated it, the louder she got. "Get on the table, get on the table." And she scared me. So I turned around and I got on the table and she ran up to me as fast as she could and took those teeny tiny little hands and started rubbing my face. And all she kept saying was, "Look at me, look at me, look at me." I'm like, I am. And she, if it's even possible, kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. The one thing I did on this doctor visit that I had not done for a very long time, because I'm not a good patient. My mother says it's because I'm a man. And so I called my mama, and I'm like, "Mama, I don't feel good. Would you go to the doctor with me?" And she said yes. So thankfully, my mother was in the waiting room as whatever was happening to me was in the back. So my mother's out in the waiting room looking at Ladies' Home Journal, trying to figure out exactly how does one make 101 different pasta salads. And the nurses kept popping in and out like little prairie dogs out of the door saying, "He's going to be fine." Okay. "He's going to be just fine. He'll be out in a few minutes." Okay. So on and on and on, they kept giving her these updates. She had no clue what was going on. And I, sprawled out on the Swiss Army knife table, saw a light. It was not the, going to the light kind of light. It was just a recessed can light that was over the table. And I started to come to, and I noticed the room was just busy with activity. Like all these nurses were doing like frantic nurse things, whatever that is. And then I just remember I started to apologize. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I am really sorry. See, in my lifetime, I've passed out 2.5 times. The half time was when I was a kid. I got up real late one night to go to the bathroom, and so I either fell asleep at the toilet or I passed out. I just know I fell in the closet. The first official time was this time at the doctor's office. I did not know what had happened, but if you have never passed out, I highly recommend it. Because when you come to, it is like waking up from the best sleep that you have ever had. It's like the sleep that, you've stayed in the same spot in the bed for like 12 hours and you have not moved, and it was like so deep, and coming to is just like this refreshing thing. And the second time that I passed out was this last summer, which involved a piece of cornbread and getting up too fast, and I'm not going to expound any much on that. But this time, when I woke up, I was apologizing. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And I had that nurse that every doctor's office has, that nurse that has been a nurse since the dawn of time. She was there when Jesus was born. Like she helped deliver the Savior. And, she's popping that gum and nothing, Lucille, nothing gets past Lucille. Honey, no, honey, no. So when I said, I am so sorry, and she leaned down, well, what are you sorry for, sugar? I'm like, I don't know what just happened. She said, honey, you just passed out. It happens all the time. And then she got a little bit closer and she said, some people mess all over themselves when they do that. I was terrified. I had to check. Thankfully, that was not my case. But they kept running medicine in and out of that doctor's office to my mother. He'll be out just in a second. Fine, okay, fine. He'll be out in just a second. So they had me up on the table, and Lucille, honey, as once you get that pretty pink bat, we'll get you out of this waiting room and get you. I almost died between an oxygen supply center and the McManus tax service on this visit. But she said, once you get that pretty pink pack, we'll get you right out there and you can be on your way home. And when she said that, I caught a glimpse of myself. I don't know if it was a mirror or a paper towel holder, but I looked like a scoop of mashed potatoes, both literally and figuratively. But Lucille got me back on my feet, shuffled me out the door. And when my mother got a look at me, she said, what happened to you? I have no idea. I was in the dark. But I do know when somebody yells, get on the table, you need to get on the table. Thank you.